One clerk from Cleveland squeezes a penny from every gallon of oil and buys the future with it. Prices fall, pipelines rise. By the 1880s, 9 of 10 refined barrels in America pass his orbit. His name is John D. Rockefeller. This isn't luck. It's a system. Discipline, ownership, tiny efficiencies that compound into an empire. Power isn't noise, it's agency. The right to choose and the freedom to refuse. Wealth isn't just a number, it's ownership. Equity in processes, contracts, brands, and routes that work while you sleep. Leverage multiplies your choices through capital, people, and technology. Compounding turns small edges into inevitabilities. Service is the guardrail. Make energy cheaper, safer, more reliable, and keep a fair slice. Cleveland, 1863. A 24-year-old bookkeeper reads ledgers until numbers talk. Oil is chaos. Gushers, fires, bad barrels, exploding lamps. Railroads can erase profits with a rate change. Constraint clarifies character. Rockefeller answers with process, not bravado. If it can be measured, it gets a number. If it gets a number, it improves. He standardizes everything, buys better stills, trains men and replaces those who won't meet a standard, turns waste into revenue, paraffin for candles, lubricants for machines, even lighter fractions others dump. Saves cents on barrels by reducing solder dots. Small acts that add up. The lesson isn't the dots. It's the gaze that finds them. In 1870, he forms Standard Oil of Ohio. The name is a promise. Reliable product in a world that burns down. He stretches that promise beyond product into structure. Own the choke points. When rails squeeze margins, he negotiates rebates. When that proves unstable, he builds his own routes. Tank cars, terminals, pipelines. If a supplier raises prices, buy the supplier. If a rival runs a safe, efficient plant, buy the plant and its best people and close the rest. Headlines don't move him. Ledgers do. In 1872, consolidation hits hard, the Cleveland Massacre. He acquires scores of refineries in months, many at distressed prices. Some owners take standard stock and stay, others take cash and quit. He's not collecting trophies. He's assembling a machine. Each purchase is stripped for parts. Talent, patents, customers, one superior process. The rest is scrapped. Vertical integration tightens. Standard buys barrel factories, acid works, its own fleets. Funds research to bleed flaws out of refining. Signs contracts with railroads, then undermines dependence through pipelines that never strike, never sleep. The real product becomes predictability. A merchant 1,000 miles away lights a lamp and never thinks about it again. Prices tell the truth. Across the late 19th century, refined kerosene grows cheaper while quality rises. Households that rationed light can afford more of it. Competitors howl, customers keep buying. By the early 1880s, Standard controls roughly 90% of U.S. refining. The target was never dominance. The target was a process no one could beat on cost and reliability. Scale creates a new puzzle: law and geography. States have different rules. Charters don't travel well. In 1882, Standard pioneers a device to coordinate many companies from one center: the trust. Directors hold shares on behalf of investors. Strategy flows across state lines. Elegant and controversial. Trust becomes a political curse word. Opposition organizes. A meticulous journalist, Ida Tarbell, whose father fought Standard in Pennsylvania, publishes a multi-year investigation from 1902 to 1904. Freight contracts, rebates, tactics, all in daylight. States sue. Rivals sue. Washington sharpens its tools. In 1911, the Supreme Court rules that Standard unreasonably restrains trade. The remedy is surgical. Break it into dozens of companies tied to states and functions. On paper, defeat. In practice, a masterclass in allocation. Rockefeller didn't just control operations. He owned equity. The pieces, Standard of New Jersey, New York, California, Ohio, names that evolve into modern giants, compete, expand, and rise. The portfolio compounds. Another engine spins up with the same cold discipline: philanthropy. In 1890, the University of Chicago is built from a checkbook and a vision. In 1901, the Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research opens, later Rockefeller University. In 1902, the General Education Board forms to improve schools. In 1913, the Rockefeller Foundation launches, funding public health, medicine, agriculture, disaster relief for generations. By the end, he has given away over $500 million in early 20th century money. He's often cited as America's first billionaire. Definitions vary, stewardship doesn't. What remains after the smoke? A usable blueprint. Own the choke point. In Rockefeller's world, it was transport and standards. In yours, it's the door other people must pass through. A unique supplier, a proprietary data set, a community, a critical manufacturing step, a distribution list that actually opens. When you own the door, you set the toll. Standardize to compound. Quality isn't a slogan, it's a checklist. Map the work. Assign measures. Audit the measures. Hunt for solder dots, wasted minutes, redundant clicks, sloppy packaging, expensive handoffs. Remove them. Annualize the savings. Repeat. Turn waste into revenue. Every process throws off byproducts, data, offcuts, know-how, audiences. Others spilled what Rockefeller sold. Package what you discard. Sell it to someone whose costly problem it solves. Negotiate before you build. Build so you never beg. Strike great terms when you can. When a dependency endangers margin or mission, replace it with an asset. Your pipeline, your channel, your tool, your library, your direct relationships. Allocate capital like a hawk. Every dollar gets a job description and a deadline. Fund the highest return loop, conversion page, a machine that doubles output, the hire who raises the bar, the tool that shrinks cycle time, and cut the rest. Reinvest by rule, not mood. There are shadows. Rebates, secret contracts, brutal negotiations. Real, documented, contested in court and press. Power that perfects a process can also choke rivals. That's why this story includes Ida Tarbell and a Supreme Court. The point isn't to imitate every move. It's to extract what's ethical and powerful. Lower prices through efficiency, safer products through standards, broad access through scale, long horizon giving through strong institutions. So start small and start measured. Audit one process today. Map the steps. Time them. Find one solder dot and remove it. Write down the annualized savings. Identify your choke point, attention, conversion, fulfillment, retention, and pick one move that shifts control toward you. Package a byproduct, a template, a checklist, a data set. Sell it or share it to warm demand. Set a rule for reinvestment. A fixed % of each sale returns to the highest return loop. When Rockefeller walked into a refinery, he didn't see barrels, he saw a system. When a railroad named its price, he saw a choke point to bargain with, and, if needed, to bypass. When the courts unmade his company, he saw a portfolio. When he thought about legacy, he saw institutions that could outlive him. That is agency. That is ownership. That is compounding. You don't need a well to begin. You need a ledger, a rule, and the patience to be bored by the right work. Shave a cost. Write a standard. Turn waste into value. Buy the door everyone walks through. Put dollars where time multiplies them. Quietly. Daily. Let the numbers talk back. And when the world calls it luck, smile. The light was cheaper because someone counted.